Our opening night keynote speaker is Joe Estevez, and what I want to tell you about this person is, if you've ever heard, never go to Hollywood because there are no jobs, the reason is this man takes every job there is. Where a good year for an actor is 2 or 3 films at the most, Joe in the next year has about 15 films either coming out, being shot, or about to come out, one of which he will tell you about that will be shown Sunday morning. So it is my pleasure to introduce Joe Estevez.
Wow. We timed that out terribly. Yeah. I was talking to my daughter in the hotel room, and she said, "Good luck tonight with the speech." And I said, "Thanks. Yeah, I'm getting a little nervous." She said, "Well, listen, Dad. You know, it's only when people see you up there, it's 70% of what you look like, 20% of what you sound like, and only 10% of what you say." So I said, "Okay." So I wore my fancy shoes, okay, and my spiffy tie. So I figure I'm already 70% there. I would like to thank the Poppy Jasper Festival for inviting me. I'm thrilled to be here and thrilled to be the keynote speaker. I didn't know, you know, I've been to Morgan Hill a number of times, and I didn't know what a Poppy Jasper was. I thought it was a poppy. You know, so I made up all these great jokes, you know, about blooming idiots and things, and all of which are forget it now, you know. The last time I was here, I really got slammed by Gary Morgan and some others, Gary Harmon and some others, for telling corny jokes. Too many corny jokes. So this time, I'm not going to tell any jokes. I'm going to get... Well, okay, all right. Just 1 or 2, I guess. Okay, all right. You know how many actors it takes to screw in a light bulb? No. Just one. We hold on to it, and the world revolves around us. Yeah. This is Seamus's joke. Seamus about what is a dyslexic, agnostic, insomniac.
What do they do?
What do they do? They stay awake all night wondering if there really is a dog. Okay, it took me a while too. I did this I did this benefit for firemen, and I couldn't think of any fireman jokes. And so finally, there was this one joke, one fireman joke. It was about this Spanish fireman. And he loved being a fireman so much. He loved it. I mean, he just, you know, day and night, he'd waiting for that bell. He loved it so much that he named his children Jose and Hose B. Okay. Okay. And I do apologize. I do apologize. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, one more. This is Seamus's. Okay. What do you... Stop me, please, somebody. What do you call a Mexican with a rubber toe?
Mexican man.
Close. Roberto. Robert, see? Quit while you're ahead, you know? Quit while you're ahead. I never learned that lesson. Tonight, I would like to speak personally about us. We actors, we writers, we directors, producers, cameramen, gaffers, sound crew. We filmmakers. What we do and why we do it. Our blessings and our responsibilities. And I want to speak about faith. Faith in yourself and in the work that you do and in the world that you live in. For me personally, the longer that I live, the more I realize how spiritual life is and how much more spiritual my life is becoming. Now, I'm certainly not holier than thou. But as the years pass, I find that I'm not captain of this ship. I'm just a passenger. And I find the more that I do what is right in my heart, the more joyous that my life is. My professional life and my personal life. And I feel that I am truly guided by a higher power. And I feel that we all of us, are guided by a higher power. When I was a young fellow, I was a misfit. I was an oddball. I really didn't fit in any place. And I really didn't want to. I didn't have a girlfriend. Girls thought that I was weird. And I probably was. I saw so many things that were wrong with the world. But it seemed everybody was just blind to it. The world, I felt, was full of hypocrites and phonies. And I felt that high school was a breeding ground for phonies. Everyone was desperate not to be the odd man out. And the football team. Dear God in heaven, I hated them. It wasn't because we're phonies. It's because I was just incredibly jealous. But there was so much that I knew that was dead wrong. The injustice, the intolerance, the indifference. And I didn't have any kind of platform to tell people how I felt about that. And about maybe how they should feel about that too. My junior year in high school, there came time for the annual school play. I didn't know if I could act. I didn't know if I had any talent. But I got up my nerve and I auditioned. And I got a part. Not only did I get a part, but I got a lead. I got the lead. And my world changed overnight. Overnight. First of all, I got a girlfriend. Matter of fact, I got lots of girlfriends. But more importantly than that, I realized that I had real worth, something to offer. I had a job to do. I had a purpose. I had something to say, and this was how I was going to say it. Now, this may sound naive.
Go around.
The ghost of speech is past. Say, don't go there, man.
Come in.
Yeah, thank you. This may sound naive, but when I accepted that part, I knew that this was what I was going to be doing for the rest of my life. And it wasn't my ego talking, although believe me, I had plenty of that. But through acting on stage and later in film, I could communicate heart to heart. I could bypass reason, bypass logic, bypass fear, and go directly to your essence, to your heart. My humanity to your humanity. What power that was. What magic. What beauty. That was, and still is, what acting is to me today. And I am sure that most of you have had that defining moment. Not so much that you chose to be a filmmaker, but to satisfy that creative urge to be an artist. Filmmaking chose you. We're like moths drawn to a flame. But without that flame, there would be only darkness. Film is the universal language of the planet. And that in working in this magic art is what you chose to give your passions to. I am very proud of you. And you should be very proud of yourselves. The very fact that you are here today, you should be very proud of yourselves. It is at best an understatement to say that making a film or a short or a documentary is not an easy task. There's a whole lot of blood and sweat, tears and time and money and discipline that have passed under that bridge for you to be here today. And you did it. You did it. I am part of what is called the baby boomer generation. And in my generation, there were and are many good and great people. But I'm afraid in large part, we have failed you. You, the generations that have come after us. We have not been good stewards of our physical world or its moral character. Too many of us have heard the call, but we did not answer. And we are leaving you a place that is not as good as we found it. We have built children's, we have built prisons instead of schools. Listen to politicians and leaders who told us only what we wanted to hear. Some artists made a difference, but not enough. Too many artists and filmmakers were asleep at the wheel. Too eager to make a real buck rather than a real change. Forgetting that the real purpose in this world is to be that of a misfit, a voice in the wilderness, the conscience of a society, one who is in but not of the world. Artists, filmmakers who, instead of using their talents to make a change for good in this world, use their talents to fatten their bank accounts. And they were satisfied to be celebrities. Instead of trying to solve the problems, we became part of the problem. We took the money and we ran. I'm asking you to think big. I'm asking you to make this planet Earth a better place to live. Film is the most powerful medium in the world. And I am asking you to use your gifts as a force for change. I'm not asking you to make feel-good films. I am asking you to make films that are a force for good. Over the past 15 years or so, many films have been made to celebrate hate for hate's sake, violence for violence sake, sex films that celebrate revulsion and perversion, sadistic films that celebrate torture, these films that desensitize and dummy down our most valuable and vulnerable citizens, our children. These kind of films used to be made by perverts, for perverts. Now they're made by mainstream directors that play prime time in your living room if you want them to, because they make money. I want to appeal to you as filmmakers not to do what the generations have done before you. Bring all of your talents to bear. Make films that matter, that stir the imagination, that speak to the noble spirit of man. Films that speak to the heart. Films that, as corny as it may sound, your children or your future children will be proud of you that you made them. Making any film is tough. So why not make the kind of film that inspired you to be a filmmaker in the first place? If you've really got something to say, you will find a way to say it. And if you don't have anything to say, get a job at Walmart and leave the filmmaking to the filmmakers. Look, I know it's tough, but so are you. Being here today is proof of it that you're tough. You will find a way. You will find a way. Trust in the talents and the blessings that you have been given. One of the lessons I've learned in life is that the world may seem helter-skelter, but it's not. It's not. There is a place for you. And there is a purpose. You do not have this desire in your heart to be a filmmaker by accident. There are no accidents. The world needs you. You are built for success. You're built for success. But there's a catch. There's always a catch. You have to have a plan. You have to have a goal. But most importantly, far and away the most important thing is that you have to believe in yourself. Let me tell you a little story. The beginning of it, anyways, is a little painful, but about 25 years ago, my wife at the time, it's just painful. My wife at the time threw me out of the house. She threw me out because I didn't make enough money. She came from a very wealthy family. And she told me this as she was throwing me out. She thought, because of my last name, she was going to have fortune and fame. Didn't work out that way. Why I married this woman in the first place, that woman, that conversation is best for a psychiatrist's couch, I guess. So I won't talk about that here. But I was out on the streets of Hollywood, and I was totally and utterly depressed. I had $75 in my pocket. I had paid a month's rent in a little hole in the wall in the foothills of Hollywood. You know, it's funny when you call a friend for a loan and you leave a message on his, you know, there's something in the tone of your voice that they don't return that call, you know. I couldn't borrow a dime. I didn't have a friend in the world. I had $75 in my pocket. I had child support. I had a car payment to make. I had a lot of responsibility. And I had absolutely no money at all. And I was totally in despair. Totally. I thought I was a loser. I was a loser personally, and I was a loser professionally. This is my second marriage, down to 2. I thought this was it. Write me off. So, because I didn't have any other direction to go, I remember hearing and seeing on TV about positive thinking. So I thought, well, I'll give this positive thinking a try. So I went to the library and I got all the books I can, the used bookstore, whatever I could find. I got Deepak Chopra, I got Wayne Dyer, I got, I'm going to murder this, Parananda, Yogananda. Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. But I got all these great positive thinkers and these books, and I would force feed myself positive thinking. They say that if you have a thought in your mind, it's not yours unless you hold it for 10 seconds, negative or positive. So these negative thoughts that would go through my mind, I just wouldn't keep them. And the kids got a saying, fake it till you make it. And I would just keep repeating these positive mantras in my mind. Just be positive. Always darkness before the dawn. All of that. You know, God loves you. You are. Here's a sidebar to this story. I got home one day, and there was a message on my phone. It said, and I lost my car. My car got repossessed. So I was taking a bus, and I had to walk up the hill. And there was a message on my phone, and it said, "You look so forlorn, and you look so sad. Know this, you are good. God loves you, and there's a place for you." Click. No name, no nothing. So, wow. And this was before, you know, this answering machine. So when I got depressed, I'd play that back and forth. Well, anyway, I was repeating this mantra, and the rent was getting closer and closer. It was about 4 or 5 days, and I was just living there. And it was simple. It wasn't easy, but it was simple. Positive thinking. And I started getting work. I started getting work out of the blue. I got a job from a guy in Arkansas with his back to the TV, heard my voice in an old movie, got his secretary, said, "I need this voice for my voiceover campaign." 2 days later, I'm on my way to Arkansas. It's still one of the biggest paychecks that I've ever gotten. I was working hired by people that didn't know me. I didn't know. I was working all the time. It works. Positive energy seeks out positive energy. We really are loved. And let me fast forward this. A couple years later, I met my present wife. And I was telling her about this voice on my answering machine. And this incredible voice of just pure love. And she stopped me halfway through the story. I'm going to cry. She said, Joe, that was me. That was my future wife that left that message on my phone. So there is incredible energy out there, and we just got to open our hearts and our minds to it. Do you know, if you, this is about 1986, if you check my IMDb, International Movie Database, you notice from that year on, I've been working about at least 3 times as much every year as I have every year previously to that. And this is even without a plan or without a goal. It's just positive thinking. So that's been my mantra, and that's been my faith. And, you know, in those darkest moments, I know that, you know, it may look dark, but it's not, because we are all loved. And there is a place for all of us, and there is a purpose for every one of us. Realize this, and this is a very hard lesson to learn. When life comes down to the nitty-gritty, you are alone. And everyone you love and everyone you count on, sooner or later, is going to let you down. Now, it's not a bad thing. That's just human nature. We're all alone. Lost in this forest of life, trying to find our way out. You will find your way out. And in doing so, you will find your real self. And in that self, you will find courage, power, love, magic. My God, look at the magic that we work. We take light and shadow and sound and silence and joy and grief and grace and love and hate and tragedy and every element of the human nature. And you speak it. You speak those elements from your heart, through your lens, and you literally touch millions of hearts all over the world. That's magic. That's beauty. And that is incredible power. You have no idea of the great and marvelous things that you are going to do. But you must believe in yourself. Believe in yourself and in your blessings. Speak up and speak out. Your job in this life is to change the way that people see things. Make a change for good. No one sees the world the way that you see it. Nobody can tell the story that you have to tell. And if you don't tell that story, that story is never going to be told. God bless you, and thanks for listening.